Hopefully this is recording. Hello and welcome. This is your free soul rider. Hopefully you're able to hear my voice. This is a new setup that I have. It's the Sony mic. I have not vlogged like this before. Whatever videos I was uploading earlier were just videos without my voice. So like I said, this is the first time I'm trying something like this. So my first GoPro camera was a GoPro 5. I bought it in 2017 when I was in Romania, and when I bought my new bike, that's the Kawasaki SX1000. So I was pretty enthusiastic to Moto vlog, but I never had a setup. I'm not sure if back then in 2017 if there was a mod that could accommodate a mic setup like this, what we have now, the media mode. And I never got to record like this the way I am doing now. Yeah, so I bought a new GoPro 12, and I also bought the media pod, and here I am trying to test how the mic quality is. Like I said, I'm using the Sony mic. I've installed yesterday. I've inserted all the wires in the crevices of my helmet, just like how we do it when we install the communication system to the helmet, the Bluetooth. So it's similar, it's just that this is not a Bluetooth one, and this is a wired one. I still see that it's recording. I see the red light is blinking in the rear view mirror as I peek. Here we are. This is Yelahanka. This is the Dodbalapur main road in Bangalore. This is in north of Bangalore, and the traffic is insane. As you see, you have to be very careful when you are turning on the left, because there is constant traffic coming on the right, and sometimes there are also people coming from the left, people who don't follow traffic rules. So you have to keep your eyes open, pay a lot of attention. As you can see, the traffic is just flowing, and they will not slow down for anything. So let's see. Okay, now we got to turn a U-turn. Again, this is a junction where you have to be very careful. In India, nobody really stops at the zebra crossing because nobody knows the traffic rules. Nobody follows any traffic rules. They just ride and drive the way they want. But still, life goes on here. Problem in India is everybody just gets a license. Look at these guys, 3 people on a bike. This is very common, yet very dangerous. No helmet. Yeah, unfortunately the problem in India is that people get their licenses just like that. I'm told that for the last few years, a couple of years, I'm not too sure, they're supposed to write a test before they could get their license, but I'm not too sure how stringent the test is, and even if people understand the traffic rules. I'm saying this because I have lived abroad. I have lived in Europe for about 14 years, and trust me, when I was here before I went to Europe, I thought if you ride and drive in India, you can ride and drive anywhere else in the world. But I was in for a rude shock when I moved abroad. I realized that there are so many traffic rules and everybody follows to the T. So when you're just not used to following the rules, I mean, when I was here, I tried as much as to follow the rules, to do the right thing. I put the signals. Even back then when I had a car, when the seat belts were there, I would wear the seat belts. Somehow I have been always that very conscious person to follow the rules. But like I said, we all get our licenses just like that, without even knowing what the rules are, what those signs mean, what the signs on the road means. For example, here we see the split white bands. That means you can overtake, and so on. So we will come to that later. So like what I was saying earlier, that I was actually scared to drive in Europe, because first of all, I'm a very conscious person and I wouldn't want to break the rules. And then I had to go learn driving and riding once again from a school who gave us thorough instructions. And this was just not like 3 days or 4 days. It was a complete course. Even though I knew how to drive, or let's say, since we are talking about motorcycles, even though I was riding a motorcycle since I was like 17 and a half, I had to go and learn from the beginning, from an instructor who's a qualified instructor. Trust me, it made a lot of difference. I unlearned so many wrong things that I was doing, because like I said, in India, we just drive, we just ride. We don't have any specialized schools. We don't have instructors who are qualified to teach us. So we just sit one day on a motorcycle as young people. It's a rite of passage basically for youngsters in India. Even I was, when I was 17 and a half, at least back then, it was a rite of passage for me. So it was more of commuting from point A to point B. So my first motorcycle was a Kawasaki. It was a Bajaj Kawasaki RTZ 125. So I just started riding. I mean, I never went to any school. Nobody taught me. I knew how to ride the bicycle. I just took my granddad's 125cc motorcycle one day and just started to ride. So I discovered when I went to the riding school in Europe that I was doing so many things wrong. And there I had to train in a polygon how to navigate through the cones, take the turns, and how to use the clutch. For example, in India, when we ride two-wheelers, people use the clutch unnecessary. Whether it's in the car or on the motorcycle, the clutch is always depleted. You never do that. The usage of clutch should be as minimal as possible, as long as the situation demands. Like I'm seeing, I learn to look at the mirrors, put the right signal if I was coming on the right, to make sure that the person behind me knows what I'm doing. But we don't do this in India. So a lot of you might get offended. Trust me, I'm not demeaning India. I love my country, that's why I'm back. But we as a nation, we as a people, we need to change our attitude. We just cannot follow the sheep. Just because somebody else is doing this, I will also do this. That's not how the world works. We're the world's biggest population, and India is rising, and we have to be an example. So it's not that many a times when I try to discuss these things with people, they always come, oh, this is India, this is not America, this is not Europe. I mean, I think that's a very poor excuse for, you know, for doing something which is wrong. That's a very, very poor excuse. I mean, it doesn't have to be America or Europe or any other country. It's just about doing the right things. Just because you're in India, it doesn't mean that you can break the rules, not follow the rules. Why? We can. So it's just the change in the attitude. So I do understand that we are a very big population, and it's not so easy for the authorities to implement, you know, the testing and you know, the driving tests, the riding tests. So I'm happy that, you know, when I heard that a few years ago they started these tests which are mandatory, but I think they need to implement these things in a lot more stringent manner. And I think this kind of education, like following the rules, for example, starting from the traffic rules, should be taught in the schools. It should be made mandatory. I mean, why leave it just to the government to implement these things, or just leave it until that, you know, you want to get a license and you just study for the heck of it for the test? No, I think this should be made mandatory. I think I remember somewhere late in the 70s, early 80s, I remember my elder cousins and my uncle, they all used to be traffic wardens, and they would actually go to schools and they would have something called as a traffic weekend or something. I mean, school children would wear these red berets with a sash, and they would come and assist the traffic police. I don't see that happening anymore. People just don't know. Kids just don't know. So I think this should be implemented. It will help our traffic to be better, our nation to be better, because many of us do go to Europe and the America, and how come you're able to follow the rules there and you don't follow the rules here? So it's got nothing to do with India. It's just that it's your attitude. We have to let go of this, that's okay, chalta hai. No, that can't happen. The change has to be now. We have to be the change. I understand the traffic is a lot and so on, but again, that's not an excuse. We have to do the right thing. So it's a bit chaotic here. Look at this guy. I had my right indicator on. He just zoomed by me without wearing a helmet. He didn't care. I was extra attentive, but You have to be very careful. There are blind spots everywhere. The smaller bikes will just zoom by you. You have to keep looking at the mirror constantly. Look at the number of people coming on the wrong side. We are actually on a service road parallel to the airport road, but we are going in the opposite direction of the airport. So I'm going to put my left indicator, again the right indicator. It's a bit windy today, so I hope my voice is being captured the way it should. Now there is the rickshaw guy coming dangerously on the right. Yeah, this is what we are talking about. Now we will enter on the flyover. And when you enter from a minor road to a major one, you have to always accelerate. You cannot be slow, because you will be hindering the traffic behind you. So many a times I've observed here that people come on these roads, they come from the minor roads to the main road like this on a highway, and they are still accelerating at the same pace that they were driving or riding on the service road. You cannot do that, because there is traffic coming at certain speed behind you, and if you do not accelerate and be on par with their speed, there could be a mishap. That's a very loud car. So the weather is overcast, windy. The weather is pretty good. It hasn't rained so far. It would be nice if it rained, but it's very, very windy. I will have to see how I sound when I do the editing, but I cannot take the risk of trying to play around with my GoPro while I'm on this road. I better have my hands on my motorcycle and pay attention and not really fiddle around. Let's see what is captured at the end. If my voice is not captured, I can also... Okay, I have finished my work for what I had come. Basically, I had to come to the post office. So I'm getting back home now. So I guess I'm going to end the vlog here. There's nothing else for me to show or speak today. And thank you very much for watching my channel. And please leave your comments or suggestions on anything. It's always welcome. And I'm always here to improve the content. And please help me in terms of what kind of content you would like to watch. Help me and suggest me, and I will definitely do it. Thank you very much once again, and I wish you all the very best for today until we meet next time. Thank you very much.